Hello. Finally, the day has come. I'm ready to reveal the top secret new tool. This has been under development for many, many years. I have been using it and many products like it. I've probably tried over 20 different types and have settled on a formula that I have found to be the best for applications in jewelry. And I am really excited to introduce you to Set It. So this is a moldable work holder for two-handed setting. Now that is the primary use for it, but it has so many more applications that I'm going to be revealing to you over the next week or so and showing you all the great ways that you can use it. Set It is a thermoplastic that you can mold around your work, so you can use two hands to set. A lot of times I see people, especially beginner metalsmiths, using one hand and then using a burnisher or a bezel pusher in the other, and it's constantly fighting each other. This way you don't have to fight that, and you can use a ball vise or even a ring holder and be able to use both your hands in setting. This is a thermoplastic that heats up in just under boiling water, and for your first use. You can then from then on use a heat gun. However, if you want to use it with a kind of large quantity, heating it back up in hot water is a way that I recommend. If you don't want to have water come in contact with whatever you're working on, let's say you're working on steel or different metals or stones that you don't want in water, heat gun is probably the safest way to go. It is not as sticky as some thermoplastics out there. It is more hard than others. I find that it's very easy to use, and I find that it's very user-friendly to get to use and do what you want it to do. So without further ado, I'm going to open this bag and get it started. Your temperature of your water needs to be between 150 and 170. I like to heat it all the way up to boiling, let it come down to about 200. Your package comes with 4 ounces of pellets. They're kind of like a little rice shape. And you're going to pour in about 1/4 of a bag to start out with. And you can seal your bag up and keep this for later use. I use a little borosilica glass beaker. This is just a beaker I got off of Amazon. You can get like 6 for like $35-40. I use them all over the studio. They're great because you can heat them up in the microwave. Your pellets will turn clear and start to form into a mass. I like using the glass rods that you can get with these beakers. You could use a Pyrex or you could just use a bamboo chopstick. You pull it out once it forms a mass, and your biggest thing to do at that point is squeezing out water. So you're going to squeeze that out. It is going to be hot, so do be careful, but get all of the air and bubbles out. So your first molding, and you have a little bit of time to form this. I usually try to dry my hands off. Here I'm just using my pants right now. And the best way to use this, in my opinion, for doing any kind of setting is to form a T and have it be its own little T in a vise. So I am forming a little stem right here and making a T. So it's kind of got a little T here on top, and I'm getting it down in here, and then I'm going to tighten my vise, and you want it to have a taller mound on top. So you want that mound to be a little bit taller on top. You see the material is still tight, or is still clear and not turning white yet. Here's a piece that I have that I'm going to set a stone in and I'm going to engrave. I'm going to push this down into the thermoplastic. Here, this bottom piece has a stone that's going to be set into it. And so I don't want the thermoplastic set it to be pushed up in there. So I'm taking time to make sure that doesn't go into the setting and making sure that it's peeled under and goes into as a depression because I have a hollowed out setting. I want to make sure that it's down low enough that I can push over the bezel, but I have this space here that has a little jump ring that is connecting the piece. So I am going to just kind of firmly get everything going here and kind of get it where it is just barely getting a little edge around all of the edges of the piece. It doesn't have to be exact. You definitely don't want it to have too much taller than the piece. You just need a little bit securing the piece and supporting underneath the piece. I'm down here again. This has got to be down below. If you have trouble, I just take some kind of something that's got something flat that I can push into, and you're starting to see the actual set it change color into a kind of white again. What we're looking for is for it to completely cool and be a solid white again. Now it's starting to lose some of its malleability, but I am making sure that there's none of that in my setting. I have a little piece there that kind of got in the setting, so I'm kind of scraping that out. That'll roll off like a glue gun glue or a sticker glue, but you just want to make sure that that lower part, all of that behind where your stone is, it's supported under the edge, but it doesn't come up and be too high for your stone, because otherwise you're going to set your stone and then your stone's going to feel too high and then it's going to rock. So I'm going around and just getting that all set in there. So now at this time, what I'll be able to do is get in there. And here I did this nice secure setting over the jump rings here because I know that that is kind of a point where you have kind of just those 2 points connecting. So it's a weaker point, but it's also a good point to bury because I don't really need access to that while I'm setting stones. But I'm making sure that I have it up enough and secure enough, but also that I can go around and set and roll over that setting easily enough. And then I have this whole layout from a laser engraving that I'm going to be able to come in here and do all the hand engraving for this here. So this whole piece here is going to turn to back to that white and then be ready to engrave. Okay, it's all hard and white. I trimmed my bezel a little bit, so that's a little sandpaper little thing here and here. And so it would be ready to set. So at this point in time, I could go ahead and use a bezel pusher and push everything over. Just for all kind of purposes here, time-wise, I'm just going to show you how we're going to remove it. One way to do this would just be to go ahead and loosen it from the vise and go ahead and put it back into hot water. If you have sensitive stones and such like that, that you don't want to put it into the water, you want to be careful because it is going to be between 150 to 170 degrees. So more sensitive stones that are more thermal sensitive, tanzanite, opal, apatite, emerald, you really don't want to put in and have that kind of shock. Heat guns are also going to have that kind of shock, so you have to be careful with using them as well. So what I would show you here is a quick way to go ahead and use the heat gun. I'm going to go ahead and take that stone out since it's not set, but we're going to go ahead and just show you how the heat gun works. And I would go ahead and just use a little setting punch, lift it up, and everything will come out fairly quickly. So, see this residue that's on here? This is going to come off pretty easily. And one way to do that is just to roll it off like a glue gun glue will roll off. One of the dilemmas that you find is the hotter you get this, the more sticky it becomes. If you let this kind of cool off just a smidge, it'll come off very easily, and it's not going to get all caught in everything. This comes off much easier than other thermoplastics that I've used and tested out. This here, let's say you have something that's a little bit smaller and you want to have a tee for that. Here's a tee that I've saved that has a little hole that goes all the way through for an earring, and I have this tube set bezel for a moissanite earring that I make. So all I'm going to do is heat up with the heat gun again, and you're just really heating up that surface. Doesn't have to be a lot, but since there's a hole that goes in there that I use this, so this could be like my earring setup that I use for earrings. And I'm just barely bringing a little bit over to get that set. And again, I'm just going to wait for that to harden all the way up to that surface being a nice solid white color. You are ready to get your piece out, and you don't think you'll ever use this tee in this shape again. You're going to go ahead and drop it down into that near boiling water again. I like to just go ahead and boil it, let it cool off for a few seconds. Once you start to see edges and such turn clear, you can go dig in and get your piece out. There's that. And then you're going to want to get that piece separated into a flat pancake. You want to store them in flat pancakes, so when you go to heat them up again, it's going to be easy to form them, and they're going to heat up very quickly versus trying to heat up a big, huge mass. There's a lot of other uses. I'm excited to see how you guys are going to use them and do different things with them. I can't wait to see what you guys think of the product. I really have worked hard at bringing this to the market, and hope that you are going to enjoy it as much as I have, and hope that you find a million different uses for Set It.